For Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for Tawwab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our program Learn Arabic. Today we will discuss probably the 10th letter in Arabic language, which is Ra. I think that we discussed something like that before, but today we can make a kind of a focus on the writing style for writing such alphabet. I'm joined as always with all my guests today: Khalid from Ghana, Muhammad from England, Usama from Egypt, and Nabi from Pakistan. Welcome to all of you.
Okay.
Today actually I would like just to go forward to Ra, because I think we discussed something like that in the previous episodes, and I think that is Ra in Arabic probably could be very close and very similar to R in English. Probably we have the same place of articulation, we have the same way of pronouncing, and but of course it's a different way in writing it, because the R in English could be different from R in Arabic or Ra in Arabic. So I think that's very easy actually when it comes to Ra. Here is the way of writing it. This letter is similar phonetically to R in English, but by which the tip of the tongue flaps again in the roof of the mouth behind the teeth. I think that's very easy. All I have to do now just to pronounce it, and please follow me. So I would say that Ra, 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 Ra. Can you see that? Okay, so what's happening here? Can you feel something happening here in your mouth?
I think vibration.
Yes. Yep, vibration. That's probably could be a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Vibration, and also our tongue is moved to the plate of
exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's why very important actually to describe how can we pronounce it, and that's why again. So I would say that Ra, Ra. Can you see that? Probably. It could be different sometimes from different or variations of R in English, especially when it comes to the US English, something like that. But in Arabic, we just have one standard form, which is the tip of the tongue actually touches all the time or flaps the backyard.
But don't we have something like, I've seen some people saying Re or Ra or something like this.
Well, I think that Usama also discussed something like that before when he talks about the slight and the heavy Ra when it comes to Mufakhama, Muraqqaq, and something like Ra and Ra. Is that correct?
They say it's a different type of pronunciation, different type of recitation.
Recitation, I think that's also happening, and that's why it depends on the vowel that probably comes after or before the letter.
The vowel. Yes, I think the vowel. Ahmed, we have in the ever glorious Quran we have 20,330 words that begin with the sound Ra.
Well, very, very interesting. 20,000.
20,330, and 313 words that begin with Ra. It begins in the initial position. Okay?
Oh, okay. I see.
And this is not the number of the occurrence of Ra in the whole.
But
this is the words that begin with the sound Ra.
Okay.
And there is also the confusion or mispronunciation of Ra.
Yep.
For example, when there is a mark above it, we call it Fathad, and this is a small slanted line above the the letter. This is Ra, and it has to be heavy.
Here is that in this way. You want to say that, Musama?
Yeah.
Right.
And this has to do if we, for example, write Ra, Rajul.
Yep.
Okay.
So here is it. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Here is it. Ja, Ra, Ja, and La.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep.
In slang we say Ragil.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
So if you said Ragil, you may cause offense to someone.
Exactly, and I think that when it comes to the slang, also we add another sound here, which is I think that's right, and
I think when you're reciting a lot, I have this problem.
Yep.
When because it's recited heavily. Yes, you have to. So, for example, when I recite Quran, and I say Alam Tara, sometimes you say Alam Tara, because you think in your head. You have to recite the Ra heavy. So in order to recite the Ra heavy, you recite the Ta heavy, which becomes Ta.
Yep,
that's one of the problem I have.
Yeah, for example, we say Rabbana.
Rabbana, right.
Rabbana, we say Raziqin. We don't say Rabbana. So it may...
Exactly.
It will sound...
So it's based on the vowel system that we have on the letter, right? Which is described actually as harakat or something like that.
Yes.
Fatha, Dhamma, Kasra, which are described actually in English language as short vowels.
Short vowels.
Right,
yes.
exactly. So when we write such letter actually in Arabic, this letter is written entirely below the line. It's distinctive by its wide angle and its long tail that dips below the line. Can you see that? So here that I would say that there is a line here, and I would describe that in this way. Can you see that? Is that different? Of course. Is it different from da? Let me just write that.
Yeah, I think
Totally different.
Totally different.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is dal, and this is
I think the tails she separates from the and a small hook
right.
is more slanted instead of coming to
Exactly.
70 to 80 degree angles.
Right. Exactly. So
And here I know that the reason for correcting me, Ahmad, for
Yep.
writing it that as a curved line,
yep.
because it will lead here to an overlap between ra and da.
exactly, and that's why again. So please, if you can write both of them in your scratch paper,
Yeah.
here is that. So this is for da, and this is for ra. Can you see that? Okay, so we have here a slanted line going down, and we have a straight line less than 90 degrees of angle. We have angle here less than 90 degrees, but here we have just 1/4.
So this is da,
Yep,
this is ra, I think.
that is awesome. Okay. Well, I like. Well, okay, I like that. Thank you, Khaled, for that. Okay, so this is written entirely below the line. It's distinctive by its wide angle here in this way, and its long tail, that dips below the line. Here is that, in this way. Can you see that? Okay. Okay. Now, when we start writing it on the line. We start writing it on the line and curve downwards below it, right? So that's for ra. Okay. Now, if you like just to pronounce it, here that I would say it again. So we say ra, ra. I think that there is a kind of vibration here happening in our vocal flaps.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes I would say it would be significant to actually to understand how can you write it and how can you also pronounce it. So ra is always. All the time, actually, his voice. We never have ra.
Even you say in English something like ranges or something, it still have the rocket, still have this vibration voice.
Exactly, right, right. I think that's also found in Arabic. When it comes to the place of articulation here in our oral cavity, what's happening here, we have actually the tip of the tongue all the time. Right, ra, ra. So all the time touches actually flaps the alveolar ridge. And when it comes to the airstream, because actually every sound is made by airstream. You have to remember that. If you don't have airstream coming out from the lungs, you would never be able to pronounce any letter.
When you know where to probably live.
Exactly. We would never be able to live in our world.
Concerning Ahmed, the sound of the alphabet ra, I find that there are some people who do have impairment or dysfunction in pronouncing ra. And that is what we say, for example, lisp. They have a lisp.
Oh, exactly. So can you give me an example? Okay. Right, exactly. Okay. That's right. Sometimes you can find that in, for those who are speaking Arabic language.
Right. And they do make a confusion between ra and gha.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right, and that's why. But I think it's probably related to some physical aspects in their oral speech system. It's not related. Well, the right form and the standard way of pronouncing and just to say it, we say ra. If they have any problem, I think it's not probably.
I don't really see ra and ghain very close. It's not really close. So.
I think that people who do have such problems, we say that they are fluent in French. As you know, French is we have ra in French.
Whoa, that's right.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Right.
I met some people who do have such problems between changes the ra.
You know,
how do you give an example? Pronunciation of ra close to ra in probably in some kind of word. Can you give an example?
I think that is when it comes. I agree with Osama Muhammad here in this point, because yes, we discussed something like that before, and I still have a friend of mine who is living in Paris, and he told me before that R in English or ra in Arabic in French sometimes it's pronounced like alveolar. It's described actually as alveolar, so that means the tip of the tongue sometimes flaps the alveolar ridge here. But sometimes they say something like that. Probably confusing with in Arabic language.
That's what I meant.
He told me a very interesting point that it's pronounced probably in Paris or around Paris, but when it comes out of Paris, like for example in the northern parts of France, you can pronounce it like something like that.
Ard, they may say ard. They may say ard, okay?
Right. I think that's very interesting, Osama, to have such example. But I think that when it comes to the lisp letters in Arabic, I think that's probably the only letter that we have.
Yeah,
and it could be actually probably related to some dysfunctional elements in oral cavity, but it's not related basically to the standard rules for pronouncing such a sound. And when it comes to the manner of articulation, I think it's also very important here to mention something, which is because as we said now, that the airstream which is coming out from the lungs, actually what's happening here is that we don't have any stoppage, but probably the airstream is released through a narrow opening of friction. That's why it's described as fricative sound, and that's why we say ra. You probably can feel that the airstream is released out from your mouth. Probably you don't feel that, but if you just have more attention on pronouncing it, you can find this ra. Ra. Put your hand here. Can you see that? Ra. So you can find that the airstream, right? There's airstream coming out from your oral cavity, and that's why it's described as fricative. And at the same time, it's not nasal sound, so that means that the airstream is released from the mouth.
What about the people who recites from the nose?
How
would it recite ra?
I don't know, Mohammed.
Because when you recite the meme and when you recite the meme and noon, it comes from your nose, I think. It comes really close.
How can they pronounce it?
I think if you even if you force yourself to do such, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
If you say Ramadan,
no. It is impossible that you pronounce ra from the nose.
From the nose.
It's impossible, right?
It is impossible.
It's impossible. I think
nothing impossible.
Let me try that.
Except if you have a flu, for example. Sometimes all the alphabets are those who have flu are pronounced from the nose. So it's
not impossible. It's possible, right?
It's possible, right? Yeah.
Nothing impossible.
Right, but the standard rule here for pronouncing R, as we know, that it's oral sound. It's not actually a nasal sound. Again, I keep saying that is nasal sounds in Arabic, ma, mim, noon. That's probably could be the only two sounds that we have in Arabic. I think we can discuss. Yeah, Osama, you have a comment here.
No, I'm commenting that we have English 3.
Okay, well that's right. In English, yes, we have 3 letters that are described as nasals, ma, na, ng. But in Arabic, we just have 2. And I think we can discuss more about how can we write that in different positions inside the word. But after having a break, my dear viewers, we're gonna have a break. Stay tuned.
Amazing stories. In this program, we get to know about people of the past whose stories were mentioned in the Islamic tradition and related by the Prophet, peace be upon him.
That verily us, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we tell you about the best of the stories. We tell you about the best of the stories. When we narrate a story, when we read a story, when we try to benefit from a story, what we are trying to do in reality is to go back through the steps, through the different parts and sections of this story until the story is actually completed, and that we can take the actual benefit directly from the story.
Sheikh Lutfi will narrate these stories in his program Amazing Stories.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one of the lands to come closer, the destination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered one whole city to come closer, to move closer to this dead person.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second part of our episode Learning Arabic. I think that in the previous part we were talking about how can we pronounce and how can we write Ra, and now let's handle the notion of how can we put such alphabet in different positions inside the word in Arabic. And I think that is Ra, when it comes in initial position, always disconnected. And let me just give you one example here. When I say, for example, the word Rabi'a in Arabic, which means spring, I think that is here. Can you see that? The first letter here that we have in such a word is Ra. Please follow me in writing this word, please. Here is it. So we have Ra here. Okay, so this is my first concern. This is my first interest. And then we have Ba. I think that we discussed Ba before. When it comes in the medial position, always connected with the following one. And here we have Ya. We will discuss more about Ya in the upcoming episodes. And then we have here is it. Can you see that? Which is called Rabi'a. Can you see the dots? Can you see the... Yes, Muhammad.
I've practiced quite a lot at home.
Yep, you did.
Yeah, so I think I've seen.
I see that. Well, excellent. Well, that is very interesting because here you are just paying more attention to the line. So if I would repeat writing this word again on the line,
I've seen in a lot of books they're written like this.
Can you see that? Here it is. So bam. Yep. Can you see now? Well, I would like just to pay attention for something that could be very interesting. Don't just disconnect the letters in a faraway distance. Here, for example, don't put ba here.
That's probably bi'a then.
Can you see that? Ra, ba, yeah. Well, that is wrong.
Okay.
Just to be very
I
close.
think if you do that, you probably don't like bi'a ayn.
Right, something like that. Yep. So here it is. I write it again in this way, and then we have bam, small hook, put one dot, and then we have ya here, two dots, and then we have I.
You probably give a space, probably half a letter or maximum one letter space between ba and ra.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes, yes, you can find a kind of very similar features between both letters. And here is my concern, which is ra coming in the initial position, and that's why it's always disconnected.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like this.
Let me have a look at this.
I find it difficult to write the last letter, so I keep it.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, I like that. I like that. Okay.
By the way, ra is the most different with the dal.
Exactly.
More than half, it is the under of line.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ra,
That's
in
right.
written.
That's
In
very
writing.
important, right?
And dal is the all over the.
Always above
Exactly.
line.
That's right.
I think
that's
that
right.
the angle, the 80 or 70 or 60 degree angle is on the line. Rest, I think it's under the line probably.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
right. That's another distinctive feature between dal and ra. That dal is coming all the time above the line, but ra coming probably below.
But some people, because they write in a different way.
Yep.
They write ra very small, which can confuse ra and dal. I think you need to just bring your slant line more towards downward.
Right.
Just probably example on the board.
Exactly, that's right. And also when it comes, for example, to ba, ta, tha, that the form of ba and ta and tha are written actually, such a forms are written above the line.
On the line.
On the line.
Right, or on the line, I
on
would
the
say
line.
that.
When the line is very important rule, I think when you write ayn is coming underneath the line, it's not coming on the line.
We can say that ra is same jim, ha and kha.
Right.
It is the half of
Exactly.
underline.
Well, I agree with you, by the way, so you can point.
But this is when ha, ra, ha comes in final position.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
No,
And-
in the middle position.
Middle position. Middle position is all on top of the line.
Calm down,
the
please.
position, it is on the line.
Yeah,
Right.
it's in the last position. I agree with it.
Yeah.
Well, that is right. Let me just interfere here. I find a kind of fierce discussion. Well, I would tell you, jim, ha, kha, right. It's written probably could be very close to the ra. But when it comes in final position, but when it comes in initial position, we generally have jim, ha, kha without the tail.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Right,
we're
that's
talking about 10.
Exactly, that's right. So I think this is probably the first feature for writing ra when it comes in initial position, which is always disconnected. In medial positions, sometimes comes connected, sometimes comes disconnected. When it comes, like for example, when it comes to medial position, I would say here is that.
I think ra could be probably the only letter that's always come underneath the line in whatever position it is.
I would say that, but again, you have to make part of the letter to be above the line.
Yeah, but it has to come definitely underneath the line.
Exactly, that's right.
Go down to the line.
Right. That's correct. That's correct. So let me just write here ra again. When it comes to the medial position, can you see that? What I'm making now is that I'm writing the word harb, which means war. So here is it. This is ha.
Yeah.
And then, can you see that, Nabil? So we
Yes.
don't have any tail when it comes in initial position.
And
And I would suppose that this is probably, this is the line. I'm sorry for that. I know that this is a kind of scribbles.
Yes.
snake line.
Yep. Anyway, so here is it. So this is for ha. Can you see ra?
Yes.
Here is it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have ba. Comes in final position, connected. Disconnected. Okay, put just one dot. So how many letters do we have in this word? Three. Right.
Yeah.
Let me just
What is,
disconnect.
is it harb or harb?
Harb.
What does it mean?
What? War.
Oh.
Right. Okay. So let me just disconnect the letters again. Here that we have ha.
I find that also
Yep.
that's could be a name.
Oh my goodness.
Some people will call themselves harp.
Yeah.
I think it's related to the cultural background, because you can find that
Could be not in only Arabic, only in English and in South Indian continent, harp or hardip or something like this, similar to.
Is there anybody in
harp or something like that?
Okay.
Well, we have harb or harbi.
Harbi, right?
Yeah, such a thing.
I've seen harbi. A lot of people say harbi.
Yep.
No, I find some people are calling themselves harbi.
So what's the translation? Worry?
Oh my God, this is very negative meaning.
It's a negative, yeah.
So what's the translation of harbi?
Well, it means the person who probably is very interested in wars and fightings and the troubles. Yes, Khalid?
Yes.
Yeah, when you write the ra,
Yep.
when you join it, should you put it more close to the line?
Exactly,
Because,
right.
I see when it's not joined,
Right.
it'd be like a little at the top.
Right.
When you join it, should it be exact with the line?
Exactly. So let me just write it once again here. I'm sorry, but we don't have a straight line. So here is that. So we have here ha, and then we have ra in this way. So actually, I would say that 90% of the shape of ra comes below the line.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Right. And then we write ba here. Here is it. Can you see that? So it consists actually of 3 letters: ha, ra, ba.
So sometimes people write ha as a slanted line straight down.
Well,
Straight down.
I see you, Sam.
How about that?
Well, I don't like that, by the way. You should put ha when it comes to initial position always on the line.
On the
So
line.
please don't make that below the line.
So it's probably slightly above the line and then ra coming towards dance. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
Yep.
that is what I meant.
Yep, that's
for
right.
example,
That's right.
In such a manner, for example.
So
you see, right
generally
that.
speaking, yeah, when it comes
Okay.
in this part,
Oh.
Right, like this.
okay, let me just have a look at this. Oh, I see you, Sam. Well, no, of course not. Well, that's not correct at all.
I thought you said something like this. I've seen people writing like this. Above and ra is going like that.
Well, even this is not a good way actually to write
I think it
ra.
has to do with the beauty of writing.
Exactly, that's right. That's right. So let's move on here to the second part, which is sometimes also sometimes it comes disconnected, like warda. So you know what the meaning of warda, which is flower. I don't know, like harb, war. So you can find also girl that is named warda.
Yes.
In Arabic language. And so let me just write warda here again. You can find that is for writing warda. What's happening here is that. Here is that. So we got to start with wa, moving to ra. Here's my point. And then we have da. And then we have ta marbuta. We're going to discuss more about ta marbuta in the upcoming episodes. But here is my point. Ra. Please don't be confused between ra and dal in Arabic. Okay. So this is about ra when it comes in the medial position. Okay. Now let's move on here to the final position. It comes very interesting, because ra when it comes in final position always sometimes comes connected and sometimes comes disconnected. So I would say that in initial positions disconnected, in the medial position sometimes connected or disconnected, in the final positions also sometimes connected and sometimes disconnected. Let me just move on here. It comes connected like bahr. Here is that. The word bahr, which means in English sea. Sea. So here is it. Bahr. Ba. This is the first letter. And then we have ha. Can you follow me please in writing this?
Yeah, well.
And then we have ra. Huh. Again. So we have here 3 letters. Ba. Ha. Ra. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. So I'll combine them together again. So here is it. We have ba here. Comes in initial positions. Almost connected with the following one. And then we have ha here. This is the second letter for ha. Comes in medial position. Connected with the previous and with the following one. And then we have ra. Here is that. In this way.
So this is bahr.
Mine's slightly different.
C, right.
Is this alright?
Let me just have a look at this. Well, that is excellent. Khalid, let me just have a look at this. Great. Terrific. Okay, that's right. Okay. I think when it comes to bahr, we have sukoon above ha.
Yeah.
So that means that we don't have vowels coming above ha. I think that is very important, because if we have vowels, then we say bahar.
Bahar, yeah.
Right, okay. But we don't have vowels here, that's why we say bahr. We have sukoon, which is something that probably we can discuss in the second part of our episodes. And here is it. So it comes connected sometimes, like bah. Sometimes comes disconnected. Like, for example, thor, which means ox in English. Here is it. So thor, here is it. Tha, and then wa, and then ra. Here is it. Can you see that? 3 letters that we do have here in this word: tha, wa, and ra. So we combine them together.
Does wa go underneath the line? Or
Exactly, underneath the line, right? Yep. So here is it again.
Always the case same time, or just?
Well, most of the cases actually, when it comes in the final position actually, or in the initial position, most of the times ra comes under the line in most cases.
Yeah.
I think that in the upcoming episodes we will discuss briefly how can we write ra, and then we're going to move on to the following lecture after that. My dear viewers, I think this is probably the final part of our episodes today. If you just have any comments, send me email to brave107@yahoo.com. Thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Is for Allah, nothing but Allah. Ba is the beginning of Bismillah. Ta is for taqwa, bewaring of Allah. And Tha is for Tawwab, a reward. Ja is for Jannah, the garden of paradise. Ha is for Hajj, the blessed pilgrimage. Kha is for Khatam, the seal of the prophethood given to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.